everyone and welcome to my Reading Crime Tour. My name's Olivia and I'll be your tour guide today. Today we'll take an in-depth investigation into the crime world. Over the next couple hours we'll be uncovering real crime stories that shaped the city's past. You'll get an insight into people's places, events and their mark on Reading. Now before we set off, let's go over a few safety precautions. Please make sure you're wearing comfortable clothing and shoes suited to the weather. As you see, it's slightly raining, so be careful with where you put your feet. I've planned a safe and well lit route and make sure to stay close to the group at all times. Behind me is the meeting point if anyone gets lost. There's also a few things to be mindful of. Be careful near roads and busy areas as there might be some loud noises or traffic. So we'll also have a few rest stops along the way. The tour is fully accessible too, like wheelchair friendly paths. So with that, let's get started in the Reading Crime Tour. Firstly, we are at Forbury Gardens and I'm about to talk to you about a tragic event that happened on the 20th of June 2020, which involved the stabbing by Kahiri Sadala, including 3 casualties. The names of these victims were James Furlong, David Wallace and Joe Ritchie Bennett. Let me show you a picture of the victims. Before the day of this attack, Kahiri Sadala was recently released from prison about 2 weeks before the attack. He got himself a flat on Basingstoke Road, which is a 23-minute walk from Forbury Gardens. Kahiri was also known for having previous mental health problems, which was from PTSD from fighting in the Libyan Revolution. As he was attacking these 3 men, he shouted Allah Akbar, which means God is the greatest. He ran away into Reading Town Centre. Additionally, specific groups such as the LGBTQ community were brought together in response as these victims were gay. And this is the memorial that Forbury Gardens made in remembrance of the 3 men that were stabbed. In addition to that, I will also mention how Forbury Gardens has changed their perspective of safety in public parks. Before we move off to our next stop, this is this crime scene and this is the murderer. Our next stop is Reading Abbey, but don't worry, it's only about a 5-minute walk from here. We'll be taking it nice and steady, but let's go to Reading Abbey. Now, the Abbey might not sound like its usual crime location, but it's filled with stories about power, punishment and control. Back in the medieval time, monasteries like this one had their own rules and systems of discipline. If a monk broke these rules, there would be strict punishments, sometimes meaning isolation, fasting, or even being expelled from the order, which was a massive deal back then. This is a picture of the other side of the Abbey. Farrington was executed for treason right here in the 1500s because he refused to accept the king's new authority over the church. So in a way, this place became a scene of what we call a kind of legal crime, all wrapped up in politics, religion and power. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah. What is a monk?
A monk is someone who dedicates their whole life to a religion. These religions could be Christianity, Buddhism or Hindu. Okay everyone, our next stop is HM Prison, which is about a 12-minute walk from the Abbey. So we'll take our time and keep an easy pace. Now, this site is one of the most fascinating and darkest histories in Reading. The prison was built in 1844, right in a part of the old Abbey grounds. It started as the county jail, and in its early years it was used for public executions that people used to gather to watch punishments take place. The prison officially closed in 2013, but before that it held some famous prisoners such as Oscar Wilde, who was imprisoned here because of his sexuality. He was imprisoned from 1895 to 1897. But of course, at this day and age, that wouldn't be a crime at all. His story really shows how society calls a crime, and that can change massively over time. When we think about the 1900s, the justice system was way harsher than it is now. People were locked up for things such as debt, petty theft, or just being homeless. Punishments were often about shame and control rather than helping people get better. This is a picture of Oscar Wilde. Alright everyone, our next stop is Cross Street, which is about a 10-minute walk from Reading Prison, so we've taken easy pace. Now this site is linked to one of Reading's most mysterious cases, which is the unsolved murder of Alfred Oliver. Alfred Oliver was a local tobacconist back in 1929. It's a case that shocked people at the time and even today. It still leaves lots of questions unanswered. Alfred Oliver was found dead in this shop here in Cross Street. It was a quiet evening and no one could quite figure out what had happened. There was a few witnesses at the time of people who thought they had seen or heard something, but all their stories did not match up. The police investigated, of course, but this was the 1920s, long before modern forensics or CCTV had been discovered. They relied on witness statements, fingerprints and old-fashioned detective work. Even with all that effort, they couldn't find any evidence to charge anyone with the offences. The case ended up going cold and it's never been solved. To this day, no one exactly knows who killed Alfred Oliver or why. So as we stand here on Cross Street, imagine what it must have been like. Back then, the shop lit up at night, people whispering what had happened, the fear, the curiosity and the rumours spreading through town. It's a reminder that not every story ends with an answer, and that's a part of what makes true crime so fascinating. Are there any questions?
What is a tobacconist?
A tobacconist is someone that sells tobacco products and related smoking accessories like cigarettes, cigars and pipes. This is a picture of what Cross Street used to look like when the crime took place. Alright everyone, now we've reached our final location, which is Oracle. You can find toilets inside once this tour is finished. We're stepping away from old mysteries and historic crimes and looking instead at what's happened in the present day. Now don't worry, this area is perfectly safe, but this gives us a real insight on how crime works in a modern urban setting. Recent local statistics show how this area has a high density of reported crimes compared to other parts of Reading. Things like bicycle theft, criminal damage, violence and even sexual offences are more common than you think. It's interesting because you can really see how crime patterns change depending on the environment. In pedestrian areas like this, with shops, crowds and nightlife, there tends to be more public offences and street-related crimes. But in more quieter areas, the crime rates drop. It just shows how place and setting can influence behaviour and risk. I've also come across a few local stories and smaller incidents that don't always make the headlines. Things like pickpocketing, vandalism and late-night altercations. They might seem minor compared to big historic cases, but they remind us that crime isn't just something that happened back then. It's something that still exists around us in every day, but in different forms. We've uncovered stories of punishment, mystery and justice, from the Abbey's ancient rules, the prison's dark history, the unsolved murder on Cross Street, and the crimes that still shape Reading today. I hope you enjoyed exploring Reading's hidden past as much as I did sharing it with you. Stay safe, toilets are in this building and the train station is just across that street. Thank you very much.